Hi Yens, how are you doing today? I hope you're all having a great day. As I say every episode, I am Gerald, Ginger Gerald Stitcher, and welcome back to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, if you are new, welcome to my channel. I hope you like what you see, and if you do, make sure you give it that thumbs up at the bottom of underneath the video, as well as please provide any comments of what you see that you like, or maybe that you'd like to see me do differently. I'm always open for suggestions and comments. I would also like to invite you to check out my Instagram page. It's at ginger.gerald.stitcher. Everything's in the intro at the beginning of the video, so you can go check that out, as well as see some of my new patterns or some of my older patterns in my Etsy store. Ginger Gerald Designs, all one word, Ginger Gerald Designs. All right, so today is a special edition video. I am here to provide you with a list or a parade of sorts of all of my knitting and cross stitch patterns that are going with me from 2020 into 2021. Some of them have been with me from 2019 or even 2018 or 2017. But anyways, so I am here to show you what I have to that I'm carrying over from year to year. I hope you really like that. And as well as this video, there will be one more video coming up in the near future that is all of my projected plans for 2021. Now, so this is just currently the projects that I have on the go that I'm working on right now and where they are at this stage of the game. So let's go ahead and get started with my knitting. So we have 4 projects that I'm carrying into 2021 with my knitting. So I have 2 shawls, a sweater, and a blanket. So let's go ahead and show you the blanket first. And I forgot to get the pattern, but it is the checkerboard pattern. I will link it below. It's the checkerboard pattern from the design that I found on the web's store website, which is yarn.com. I am using the I Love This Yarn super soft acrylic yarn that you can buy at Hobby Lobby. That's what it looks like. This is the color Sun Gold. And I've been working on, I started this year. Actually, all 4 projects that I'm going to show you that I'm carrying into 2021 of knitting, I did start this year. I've showed this recently in my December videos. I've been working on this sporadically since April or May. I'm in no hurry to get this done, but this is the blanket that I'm working on. It's a checkerboard pattern. It's a basic knit and purl design. I am deviating from the pattern in the fact that I am by 2 ways. One, I'm doing the yellow, the sun gold for the center, for the main body of this design, and then I'm going to do a gray, kind of like I forget what the name of the color is. It's another Hobby Lobby yarn that I bought at the same time. The gray will be the border. There is you pick up the stitches and do the border. So the gray will go around the border. And the other main difference is that this is supposed to be a lap blanket, or just a small throw that you can put on. I'm not a fan of small throws. Like if I'm going to have a blanket, I want it to be able to cover my entire body. And I have a rather large body. I'm 6 foot tall. So I'm making this supersized. So currently, I think this is a little bit over 6 feet long. I am at least going to finish this skein of yarn. I have one more skein of yellow yarn. I will probably go ahead and throw that into, and then whatever size that turns out will be the finish size. So it's going to be a lot bigger than it's probably already double what it should be, or what the pattern calls for, but I will be then, finishing it off with the gray border. So that is the plan. I'm hoping, while I don't have any, I have no rush to get this one done, I would like to see this done in 2021. But again, I'm not making any hard and fast rules on that. I'm just taking my time. This is just a little part of it. It's actually folded over like four times. And there is the blanket. So that is knitting project number 1 that is carrying over with me into 2021. You may hear my space heater fireplace in the background. I have it down here. It's kind of chilly in here, even though I have my temperature set at 70. It's still kind of like, there's like a draft or something. It's very cold outside today. I also am using it just by the mere fact that it's very dry air in the house. So I have a big basin of water sitting in front of that space heater to try to, even though I have a humidifier, I'm just trying to add some more moisture into the air to help breathing and my skin and everything feel better, as well as my plants, because my plants are more important than I am. So the next thing, and this is the next oldest, actually I think I'm doing this in the order of start. So the blanket was started first, then I started the Echo plus Hemp Rocky Mountain Spring Shawl. This is a free pattern I also found on the Web's store website, so yarn.com. I am not doing this in the hemp yarn. I'm not doing this colorway either. That is what it will look like when it is finished. Again, it is the Echo plus Hemp Rocky Mountain Spring Shawl. This is a fingering weight shawl. I have this in one of my Knits Best Things bags. You can find her store on Etsy. And I am doing this with Knit Picks palette in the Finley Heather and evergreen, something like that, fir green, I don't know. It's a green. I forget what the name of this color is, but again, it's another Knit Picks palette. In the fingering weight yarns, there's the yarns that I'm currently working with, balls. And here is my progress. Now, I have not knit on this too much recently. I've knit a few rows during the month of December, but I need to get back to this. Again, this is another one I would like to see finished in 2021. I have half of it done. And there is what it looks like today. So again, you're gonna be able to see the lace work. This is my first lace work pattern. And I really enjoy knitting it. I just haven't knit on it much recently. I have other things that are more exciting to me right now. So again, really liking the color that this is. I love this color palette. And I'm really enjoying this shawl. This is one of the first shawls I've ever done. I really like it. So I need to get back to this and get this one done. This is one of those, just like the blanket, this is one that I'm trying to bust up my stash of yarns. So meaning I'm trying to use up all the yarn that I have. I have a lot of this palette yarn. So I figured a nice fingering weight shawl would be fun to knit on, or whatever you want to say. So that is number 2. Number 3 actually was started before the first 2. So this is my oldest project on the go. And this is one I have not touched since the spring, maybe April or May. It is from the Rowan New Nordic Men's Collection of Arnie and Carlos. No, I restarted this in June. I think it was June that I restarted this. This is a restart from an earlier attempt that the colors were just not right. And so I am knitting, let me find I should have been prepared, but I'm not. Here we go. I'm knitting the Vagard. There we go. This is an intarsia pattern. I've never done intarsia before, so that's new to me. And it's slow going. So I'm knitting this using Valley Yarns. This is again from the web store. This is yarn.com. Valley Yarns in Worthington, and this is Cashew. And the color work part, which is the intarsia, is Southampton, which is, oh, so I'm sorry, the Southampton is a, or I'm sorry, the Worthington is a, I think it has alpaca in it, but it, oh, here we go. 50% wool, 25% alpaca, and 25% viscose. And then the Southampton is a 75 or 72% kid mohair, 28% mulberry silk. And this is in the color, I think it's blueberry. It's color number 20 on their website. It doesn't say the name. I want to say it's something like blueberry. So there we go. That is the colors together. And I have very little started on this because it's one of those things that I have to really be able to focus on. Plus it's kind of messy because I have all this mohair hanging here. So I think I need to just focus on it and get into a groove and then get some progress made on it, because I think I'm really going to like it when it's done. But here is what it looks like so far. This is just the back panel. I have very little done, but I really like it. I just need to get back to it. So there we go. That is my current sweater on the go. Excuse me. Last but not least, I am working the one that I've been working on the most recently. It's the most recent start. I've been showing this a lot during my Flossmas videos. And this is my Wolf and Fawn Knits Pay It Forward pattern. Pay It Forward shawl. This is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. I think it was $8 American, $8 US. I'm fairly certain it was $8 for the pattern. I am using my Hand Dyed by Nina Lost Key. This is a sport weight 100% superwash merino and a twist sock yarn in Blue Fusion. This is I believe it's a 75-25. I could be wrong. I say it many, many times before. And here is my progress so far. Absolutely loving this. I just worked on this a little bit today, which you'll see in my Flossmas video later tonight, which will be in the past for you, because this is going to go up later this week. But really, really liking how this is turning out so far. Again, I'm using the blue as the main color, the Lost Key as the eyelet section, and the stripes. And absolutely love this shawl. This is going to be for myself, so I'm really looking forward to having this one complete. All right, so that is all of my knitting so far. So I'm going to clean up this mess. I'm going to pause the video. It'll be a second for you, and I will be back with my update for cross stitch. All right, let's talk about some cross stitch. So I have, first off, let me tell you a little story here. As I was preparing for this half of the video, I plugged in my iron so that I could iron one of the projects, so I can press one of the projects that I'm going to talk to you about today. And it blew a fuse. Well, a circuit breaker. We don't have fuses in this building anymore. So I had to go and I think I've done that once before in the 6 years that I've lived here. So I had to go and flip the circuit breaker. I had to unplug or turn off my heater because I think that's what was throwing everything off with the TV and the heater and my iron, because apparently that's all on the same socket, same circuit. So now that we have all that taken care of, I did get my cross-stitch piece press, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's first talk about the projects that I have now put on hiatus, or in an undetermined amount of time that we will not be touching these. So first off, the first one that I put into timeout, or this is actually a permanent timeout because I think I'm going to restart, is my chatelaine. I was doing the Tea House chatelaine, Tea House Challenge chatelaine, and I have not touched this. I did touch this one time for like 30 seconds this year, and then I was like, nope, not gonna do it. I'm not happy with it. I want to restart. So here is my progress so far. This is on a 28 count gold sands fabric. I absolutely love this fabric. I'm not super thrilled with my progress on this. Here is the stitching that I have done so far. Not a whole lot, but the whole challenge of the Tea House Challenge chatelaine is the fact that the whole center section, or the building in the design, this is not a mandala. This is just a regular picture of a tea house. The building is done 1/1, and everything else is done 2/2. So, which I'm not unfamiliar with 1/1 on 28 count, as I point to Henry. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm just not happy with how this is turning out. So I think I'm going to restart on a different piece of fabric, unfortunately, and I'll use this for smalls or something, because I do really like this fabric. So this is number one of, this is definitely going to be a restart. Is it going to be a restart in 2021? I don't know, but I will eventually stitch the tea house, just not on this fabric, and I'll start over again. I have this in one of my Made by Mama Joan bags. Of course, maps, globes. I love maps. So there we go. That is number one. The other project that I recently talked about that is going into indefinite timeout is my Amsterdam. This is an Ava Rosenstand chart that I got on clearance from, that British store that went out of business that's now Love Crafts. I forget what the name, I always forget the name anymore. So and so? Is that what it is? I don't remember. Anyways, this is on the, why am I not being able to get this out of the bag? There we go. This is using the called for threads, flosses, and the called for fabric. I love the look of this design. I'm not a fan of stitching it. And as you can see, it's a ginormous piece to work on. So there is my progress thus far. Actually, I put it upside down, I think. Or do I? Yeah, there's the progress so far. Not a whole lot. I started this spring of last year, spring of 2020, and I'm just not enjoying stitching on it. So I'm not going to, and I think this is one of the reasons why I lost my stitching motivation over the summer. So I'm not going to force myself to stitch on something that is not enjoyable. So those are my two UFOs, or who knows when I'll touch those again. They're going in the closet, and I'm not worried about whenever I restart them. So now let's talk about the projects that I'm carrying over into 2021 for cross stitch. So the very first one is my oldest one, and I really wanted to get this done in 2020. It didn't happen, and now it's just going to get done when it gets done. And that is my Thea Governor, or Thea Gubner, or however you want to pronounce it, or however you're supposed to pronounce it, London. I'm stitching this on the called for 18 count black Aida that came with the design. This is stitched one strand over one Aida square. And this is the piece that I went ahead and took out of the Q-snap and ironed it. So, or pressed it, or whatever you want to call it. So this is another ginormous piece that I'm working on, and here is the progress. So as you can see, I started in the center, and fuzz. I am slowly working my way out to the left of the design. I've now touched the bottom left-hand corner, and this whole section is done. Backstitched and everything. So what I need to do is work in this top section and get these buildings over here done. Once I have that done, I still have Westminster Abbey to put up in the background. So there's still a good bit more stitching on this side that I need to do. Once I do that, then I'm going to come over here and I have to work on the Tower of London that goes in here, the Elizabeth Tower, or what is commonly known as Big Ben there, and then there's a bridge, I think it's the Tower Bridge, and a tree. There's a tree that's in here. So I still have a lot more stitching on this. I don't know when I'm going to get this done. This is one of those pieces that I have to be in the mood to do because of the way that the pattern is laid out. I like it, but it's fairly easy once I get into a groove of stitching. I just need to get back into that groove again. And what happens is I usually have the motivation to work on it for a certain amount of time, and then I kind of burn out. So I have to just do it in small spurts. I will say the Buckingham Palace gate was a bear to stitch, and I still have this whole top part of the lantern part over here to do. But it also blends into Westminster Abbey. So as you can see, I have the Royal Albert Hall done. I have this building here, which I'm not exactly sure what that's called. I could pull it out and look it up. It does say in the pattern. I have St. Paul's done, other than the bottom half of St. Paul's does need to be backstitched still. All of these still need to be backstitched. The only section that's backstitched is the top half of St. Paul's, and this corner over here is backstitched. So I'm going to try to, as I work my way back, as I finish up that corner, I'm going to try to finish the back stitching. I do need to fix the back stitching here on the top of St. Paul's. It's really loose and wonky at that cornice piece. And so that's going to be something I have to rip out and fix again. But there is London. And it's getting extremely hard to show all of it in the camera now because it's so big. Absolutely love this, but we all know how much I love architectural design, and my favorite thing in the world is architecture. My favorite thing to do is travel to big cities and look at the architecture and the different types of architecture that are around. I just love city walking and stuff like that. So, right up my alley. I enjoy working on the black Aida. It does not bother me to stitch on. I don't have any issues stitching on it. I don't do anything special on the Aida, the black versus any other fabrics. I just stitch. My next oldest pattern that I have going into 2020 is housed in my very first Evertote bag. That is Caroline from Off the Grid Needle Arts' business called Evertote. You can find it at www.evertote.com. I will link it below. Absolutely love this bag. And this is my matching Notions bag. And this is my set of Fragments in Time by the Summer House Stitch Works. So I have numbers 1 through 4 done. Yes, 1 through 4 are done. I have 5, 6, 7, and 8 to do. Again, this is one of those things that I'm not in any hurry to be working on. They get done when they get done. I am doing this just kind of as like a palette cleanser in between the large projects that I've been working on that I absolutely love working on, but sometimes it's just nice to work on a small project. This is a 40 count XJU Designs fabric called Mushroom, I think, or Old Mushroom or something like that. And here are the 4 that I have done so far. I am modifying the design a little by a couple ways. One, I am doing my own colors. I am doing the, I basically tried to match up the colors as best as possible because I didn't want to buy the Gentle Arts. And I'm using color and cottons, except for the one Gentle Arts endive. I did have endive, so I went ahead and used that, and then matched the rest to color and cotton flosses that I had in my storage. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. I do believe I started this in 2020. I may have started this in 2019. It would be nice if I got these done in 2021. But I'm not stressing out if I do or don't. So again, I still have a very nice large piece of fabric to work on. And the other thing that I'm not doing is, or that I'm modifying on this pattern, is that I am not adding in the initials or the letters that were on each one of those designs. I'm just doing it, just the design itself. I'm not adding on those monograms. Because they don't really, I believe it has to do with a story or a reading, a book, a classic book, which I've never read. And I like the design as is with just the pictures. So there is my Summer House Stitch Works Fragments in Time 2017. I will be making those into small pillows. Now, the last 3 that I have to show you, I think there's 3, that I'm carrying into 2020 are very recent starts. So I had over the summer, or over this 2020, I had knocked out a bunch of projects that I had on the go, and I was down to 2 or 3 projects that I was like, this is really good. Because as we all know, if you've been following me long enough, that you know that I am not a big starter. I like to have a small amount of projects on the go, because if not, I get extremely stressed out. And so when I got down to a certain amount, I only had like 2 or 3 going. I was like, I think I'm going to start something. So I went ahead and started one, and then that turned into starting a whole bunch. I had a whole bunch of small finishes here in the last quarter of 2020. So it helped me have a productive year. But I do have 3 recent starts that we'll be carrying over into 2021. The very first one is the next oldest project that I have is my Teresa Wensler Millennium. This is a kit, a leisure arts kit that I bought on eBay a number of years ago. I'm not sure if you can still find the kit itself. I am using the DMC and the fabric that came with the kit, but I do believe you can find the kit or the pattern itself online. So this was a design that was designed for the turn of the century, or Y2K, if you all remember Y2K. And here is my progress so far. Absolutely loving this, even though it's a lot of blue. That's all I've stitched so far are blues. I still have some more blues to go before I go ahead and start putting in the planets that are 1/1. Everything is 2/2 on the 28 count. I want to call this like a cream or a like a buttercream or a mushroom. It's not mushroom, it's like a buttercream Lugana. So there we go. That is project number 1, 2, 3 that is on the go and carrying over into 2021. How many times can I say that? Carrying over into 2021. Then the last 2 projects I'm hoping are going to be early finishes in 2021, but I did just start them here in December. The very first one is the Queen Sampler by Plum Street Samplers. And we all know why I'm stitching the Queen Sampler, because I love history and I really like this design. I think it's, while it's primitive for me and I'm not a primitive stitcher, I do like this design. I think it's gonna look great here sitting where my street lamps are on my little cabinet there. This is on a 40 count XJU Designs fabric, 40 count linen called Old Linen. There we go. The colors are looking great. I'm using the called for DMC. I am not using the NPI silks that it calls for, but it does have a DMC conversion. And I have all the DMC, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use the DMC. I think it looks great. I love the colors, the way the colors are popping on this fabric. I think it's gonna look great in my home. I'm much more of a neutral, earthy tones person to begin with as far as decor, as you can see. So I think that's gonna look great in my home. I'm looking forward to getting this done early on in first quarter of 2021. This is stitched 1 strand over 2 on the 40 count linen, 1 strand over 2. And last but not least, the last start, and it is the last start of 2020, as well as the last one that I'll be carrying over. So that's 1, 2, this is design number 5 I'm carrying over. So I have 5 projects on the go at this time. And this is the Barbara Anna Designs Oh Christmas Tree. Again, I am only stitching from the key up. From the key up is what I'm going to be stitching. And I am stitching this on a 32 count navy blue linen from XJU Designs, 32 count linen, navy blue from XJU Designs. And this is using the called for DMC. They have DMC variations as well as just regular DMC. There is a metallic in there that I'm going to use the Petite Treasure braid. And here, this is the only one that's actually showing through. So let me go ahead and put something behind it. There we go. That is the progress so far. I absolutely love it. I know the tree can be a challenge to see, but in person you can see the tree when you're up close. And I just think it makes those DMC variation flowers and ornaments pop out even more, and I absolutely love it. Again, I am not a traditional Christmas color person, and this is going to be more for winter, not just Christmas. And so I think having it on the blue is perfect for me, because you know I'm more of like the bronzes and browns, and which is my Christmas tree. So this will look wonderful in my home whenever I design it. And again, I'm not a seasonal stitcher, but I really, for some reason, I love the way this looked with the melting snow and the squirrels and the melting snowmen on the tree. So there we go. That is my projects that I'm going to be carrying over in 2021. I hope you all had just as much progress or stitching as I've had this year. I think it's been a great year for crafting in general. And I hope 2021 brings just as much excitement and stitching and crafting as 2020 did. So I will be back again, like I mentioned before, with my plans for 2021. So I look forward to sharing those with you. And until I see you all again, I hope you all have a great rest of 2020. Happy stitching, happy knitting, happy crafting. And as always, don't forget to always be creative.